Dare to Innovate. With me, as always, is Scott Gilbert, Calero's CEO, and I'm very excited to have a special guest, Chris Gamble of Caliber Solutions. For a very long time, I've been trying to figure out what Chris and Caliber do and put it into a box. And I have figured out I can't really do that, nor can I put a name to it. We recently had a partner on talking about channel and channel in general, and Chris does not fit into that category, and that's why he's here on Dare to Innovate. So Chris, talk to me about what Caliber does and what you've built.
Yeah, we're a bit unique in that we're an advisory firm that focuses on continuous improvement in the technology ecosystem management, right? So we attach ourselves to problems that we feel are worth attaching to. We eliminate waste in the IT budget, right? We're looking at innovative ways to help offset the investment that clients are making in their service providers. What makes us unique, and I think that really confuses people from a channel perspective, is that we utilize the indirect distribution programs to self-fund our organization, and the savings and the efficiencies that we uncover and the waste that we eliminate for our clients, they keep 100% of that, right? And so there's legacy channel programs. You had individuals that were taking a percentage of the savings. We don't abide by that. We don't agree with that. It's their money. They keep that. And from a company perspective, it's a goal of ours that we continue to innovate and identify ways to optimize that investment that they're making in their service providers. And so it's really, for our customers, it's educating them on a who to do the how. And the funny part is that they don't really know what's available in the ecosystem. And so that's what we're passionate about, and that's what we align to do for our customers.
So I have to ask.
Jump on it.
I've got to ask quick because you said something and it resonated with me because my early career I was an IT person, right? That was my thing. I was an IT guy.
Right. You were worse than IT. You were IT in telecom. I mean, you were.
Oh yeah, it was the grossest kind of IT.
Right.
But so I was an IT person, but you said that you helped to eliminate the waste in the IT.
Yeah.
Now,
you got it.
What I know,
Yeah.
and maybe this is splitting hairs, is that money doesn't go back to the business.
Correct.
The IT person finds a better way to spend it, right? I mean
that's 100% true.
That's true. I mean that's an important part because I think a lot of times when
Yes.
I'm sure that you go into an organization and the IT guy is like side-eyeing you, thinking, "Oh man, this guy's here to take." But you're really not.
That's
You're
100%.
just saying, let's make sure we put the money in the best possible place.
What if I told you I was an extension of your team and I could give you your budget back?
Yes.
When I say eliminate waste, I'm not saying that you made a bad decision. I'm saying that it's an industry that is ripe for improvement. Okay.
Yeah.
And so what we like to identify is that there are dollars available, and that you have to, that clients cannot access on their own.
That's right.
They need a who to do the how, right?
Absolutely.
They need to understand what a channel partner can bring to them, and it's our job to educate, the highest caliber of that form of partner. And
The who to do the how does sound a little Dr. Seuss-ish.
Okay.
Like we could probably
We could do a
book out of that.
I
like
feel like
the
we
who
could.
to do the how. Like
Right.
that's
It could be fun.
Yeah,
Could be fun.
that could be a good time.
So Scott, specific question for you. Calero has lots of channels, but very few partners. And Caliber I count as one of those partners. And so I wanted to ask you, as we think about our growth and maturation as we go in the future, how do we think about partners?
So I think what we continue to see is that the expense management industry has done a couple of things. One, that in the majority of our business, the top tier customers, the largest customers, they've put a program in place. There's still some out there that haven't put the program in place, but they're there. And
You're talking Fortune 100, Fortune 500.
The big ones. They've got the program in place, and so we're going to go in and we're going to do it as we know. We're going to do it better. We're going to go in there and improve the existing program. At the same time, we've been making this huge investment in technology to allow us to get to the next tier down of businesses. And I think that's where a partner like Caliber comes in, because it's not it's not the Fortune 100, 200 anymore. It's the
Right.
tens of thousands of businesses
Right.
that can get value out of an
Right.
expense management program.
Right.
We need a partner to help us get.
Well, and the challenge I think you guys have is determining what type of partner really differentiates you in your target market, right? And so what we've identified is creative ways to work within the ecosystem of the channel programs, right? Dare I say it, I do believe I've been doing it for 22 years. It's a little bit of an industry full of scoundrels. We're in Chicago, Al Capone, okay? Maybe the first agent. So,
An agent of something.
Something.
Boy, I'm going to shower after this podcast. I just want to be
And that's why we named it what we named it, right? I mean, we're
We
calling
are
it
an
out.
historic hotel as
I mean,
well.
we see opportunity in disrupting that perception, right? And so what we're doing with clients is we're essentially educating that there are ways to utilize the dollars that you're sending to your service providers
I love it.
to offset, right? And so we call that give to get. We can call it gain share. We can call it subsidies. You could call it, we're mercenaries that are paid by the enemy if we went that far.
But here's the thing. You're transparent.
100%.
That's the piece that has been, I think that's really what you're delivering is
You nailed it.
transparency.
So I think both of you have brought up some very interesting topics, but let's narrow it down. And
You got it.
Chris,
Good
you and
job.
I have worked together
Yep.
for a while, and Chris knows that I was a difficult person on him when
Yep.
we first began to come together.
He's still
That's a true statement.
It's a true statement. Well, because I believe in a few things. One, delivering value to our clients.
Sure.
Two, delivering what we've committed to.
Sure.
And I also believe with partners, there has to be a story of better together.
Right.
Because if we do not have a vision for our partners in which we can partner together to
Right.
deliver something differentiated. Look, I can deliver my technology. We sell it every day. I can deliver our services. And when a partner comes involved, are you just a me too?
Right.
And the thing that I've learned about you is you are not.
Thank you.
You are
appreciate that.
absolutely not. And the thing that has been so interesting is that continued engagement and value proposition. So I would love you to give kind of a few examples
Sure.
of the engagements that you have
Sure.
that provide value to the clients.
Sure, yeah, and thank you for that. I will tell you one of the things that I'm most proud of in our relationship as we've gone on through the years is that we have a large oil and gas customer in Houston, and it's been brought to my attention that organization I think is the number one reference for Calero as Calero gives out references. So I agree with you, and I thank you for those kind words. And I think that that we've figured out how to truly succeed with one another. The lens that we're looking through for our clients is strategy, procurement, and delivery. You said it, Scott. Transparency. We think that's what's missing, right? We deal with Fortune 1000 clients all the time. When we look at strategy and the IT buyer versus procurement supply chain and that buyer, they're different worlds. They're different buying behaviors, right? And so from an IT perspective, we're making recommendations to help them run and grow the business. The procurement departments, they're checking a box and what have you. So, but what we continue to hear from our customers is they're looking for creative ways to optimize operational efficiencies and to eliminate waste. And so we kept hearing over and over and over from these clients that they didn't have a real VAR strategy, right? And so through the lens that we're looking for, strategy, we think IT buyer, procurement, we think supply chain, procurement. And then delivery, the outcomes. What does the business want? What are the? We had the Great Resignation that hit us. People became harder to find. Great resources became harder to find, right? And so, from a procurement perspective, we decided to try to find a way to truly innovate in that space to bring transparency, right? And so, when clients asked us, when we countered with, well, what's your VAR strategy? We'll get 8 different proposals. And we'll pick the lowest one. And we said, well, isn't it pretty much an unfair game once the deal registration is figured out? What's deal registration? Right. So we go to work.
You need 8 different proposals because
so we
they're
go to
all
work.
gonna.
So we go to work and we said, let's educate. Now we see ourselves as an extension of their team. sitting on their side of the table.
Yeah.
We make recommendations,
Absolutely.
they make the decisions, and we're educating what is available in the marketplace to optimize those investments, right? And so what we ultimately found after testing is that there was an opportunity to disrupt and innovate in that space from a procurement perspective and how companies go to market utilizing VARs, right? And so how are they procuring equipment? How are they procuring software, right? And so we tested it and we found out that there was an opportunity to help them and to eliminate waste and in some instances 100% markup. And they had no idea because they had a cost plus arrangement. So what we decided to do was we decided to offer cost plus transparency, right? And so they didn't have a VAR strategy, we invented a VAR strategy. We call it no VAR, right? And so no VAR allows them to go direct to distribution, and we provide the underlying cost, and we work out the details from a give to get strategy on how we can use other people, other suppliers, other dollars that are already in their ecosystem, right? That they're already contracted to pay with. How using a who to do the how to access those service providers and those indirect channel programs to fund our organization to offer that direct to distribution. So if you look at other areas that are being disrupted, other industries, right? Look at Mark Cuban, cost plus drugs, right? Look what he's doing. Look at the automotive industry is probably the best example. So
Tesla.
Thank you. Check, right? Direct to OEM, right? But if you and I, and everyone out there, if you could go direct to distribution to buy a vehicle, would you?
Absolutely.
Well, why would you? Because you're cutting something out, right? And so
For me, it depends on if I have to talk to a person.
there you go, right?
Like if I have to talk to a person, I'm gonna go the other way.
Right. So we got.
So if I can do it via chat or
just a form
email,
online, that's the one.
Well, so
either way.
but you're validating my point. Hence, CarMax, TrueCar,
yes.
right?
there's still too many people involved.
Well, exactly. well, and so at every step there's margin, and there's mystery,
that's
and
so true.
Where there's mystery, there's margin. It's the
There's
thing that we
dealer
joke about.
costs if you're talking about a car.
Absolutely.
I said I'm not paying that.
So here's the invoice. We don't make any money. I can assure you, I know a lot of auto dealers.
You're full of it.
They fly private. I'll just say that,
Yes.
right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. And so, so we saw VARs analogous to a car dealership.
Yeah.
And so we said, what if we could do this? And so I'd like to say that we've invented this and we've revolutionized it. Maybe we just had the common sense to listen.
You
to apply
know what?
that to our customers.
I'll say something different. I'm going to give you credit, and I hate to do that because I'm worried where it's going to.
The only thing he would hate
This
more
is
is to
being
give me
this is
credit.
being- This is being recorded.
Yeah, I know. So I would say it a little different in that you had the courage to go do it. Like that's a big piece. I mean, it would have been very easy to say, I'm just going to go stick with this traditional model.
Correct.
You had the courage to say, hey, let's
Right.
go approach this a little differently. Let's be more transparent.
Correct.
And hopefully the long game, the dividends from that
Correct.
well outweigh
100%.
that short-term loss of I'm just going to take my money and run.
100%. So, you're touching on really the passion of why I do what I do. From an entrepreneurial perspective, it's removing roadblocks for our clients, right? It's challenging the status quo. In challenging that status quo, we see opportunity for ourselves and we see opportunity for our customers. And transparency levels the playing field for all parties. And we're showing how we benefit. And so we will show how we benefit across the entire ecosystem. But then that's when we really go to work and we show how we invest back in. So investing back in from advisory services around strategy, investing back in from the procurement components of charging minimal fees, and investing back in from a personnel perspective and subsidizing contractual rates for some of the highest caliber resources in the industry, but subsidizing those rates down to where they're getting the best engineers in the industry for some of the cheapest
Have you
prices
done any
available.
advising on like great sales teams? Like if I wanted advice on
You're not going to like my answer. You're not going to like my answer.
His answer is it already exists.
I have an answer if you want me to give it.
Give it. Please give it.
We don't have a sales team. We work through referrals.
so we don't so what you're saying is I don't need sales.
No, I'm exactly. I look. I have a channel. I have a channel of customers who are referring me to.
Chris, we'll have to discuss about your commissions. So, Scott, we've done a lot of very interesting conversations, and I want to kind of bring this back into how we think about it.
Sure.
Because, Chris has been a Turner's partner. I've known him for a while now.
Yeah.
But how are we thinking about? I always bring it better together, And we have partners that we are and partners that we aren't. And I can put the partners that we are in a very small category, which is why Chris is here. How do you think about it?
So I think, we talk about as we're hiring new employees. So when we're bringing on someone new, it doesn't matter whether that is an invoice analyst or a vice president, it doesn't matter. One of the things we always talk about is how does this person fit with us? And we have a certain set of values, we have a certain mission, we have a certain style that is important. And when I look at what we're doing with partners, it's the same thing. So look, we want to be innovative. We've talked about that in all of these other podcasts where, it's whether it's SaaS, whatever it is, we don't want to just take the status quo and we want to be different.
Yeah.
We believe there is value in being different. So when we have a partner that we see that same characteristic in, which I think is what Chris just explained, is it's not the traditional, it's not the status quo, it is something new. We're like, hey, that's an opportunity. And maybe we don't see eye to eye on everything, maybe we don't agree on every aspect, but we both know that what we value, what you value is challenging the status quo. Is saying, hey, maybe we could do it a little different. And when we do it a little different, the customer, you, us, we're all happier. Everybody benefits from it.
Well, and you guys have done a fantastic job with giving us the opportunity to experiment, right? And so our experiments are calculated, right? We're not going to boil the ocean and things of that nature, but you've done a great job of giving us that opportunity to educate our clients and to take them into areas against the status quo and educate them on what's possible, essentially, right? So we thank you for that. And I will tell you that, from our perspective, we couldn't do what we do without having companies like Calero as the tip of the spear, right? I mean, there is a tremendous amount of value in what you are bringing to the marketplace and easing commerce for our customers and giving us the opportunity to operate in your environment. I mean, the True Insight tool is fantastic, right? It's a game changer for us. So the partner community should absolutely embrace that. And the type of clients that we're dealing with, Fortune 2000 and above, 80% of my clients, have a TEM provider. 100% of them ask me which TEM provider should they be using. And so where we find ourselves is on the front end or the back end of that relationship and in optimizing that environment for the betterment of their outcome.
There was a lot of compliments in there. Are you going to ask for?
Did I?
Are you going to ask for more percentage points? Like, is that coming? Like, is this a negotiation?
We're documenting it, so I don't know. To be determined. How about that? Cool. You good with
Fine.
that?
All right. Fine.
Future negotiations, but I felt burnt just a second ago. So both cheeks are, one's rosy from compliments, one is rosy from a backhanded slap. So we may figure out something. We may have mixed out the middle. All right, you're fine.
Okay, good. Thanks.
Percentage stays the same.
What floor are we on?
Hey, we're not trading component.
Right on.
Well, Chris, thank you so much for joining us.
Appreciate
Scott, as always, you've been fine. So thank you guys for joining us for Dare to Innovate here in Chicago. Chris Gamble from Calero Solutions giving us some very innovative ways to think about advisory and partner and channel and the ways that you should be thinking about your ecosystem. And Scott Gilbert delivering his same old, same old. Thank you guys so much for joining and looking forward to the next time on Dare to Innovate.
Stay on top of the conversation. Like and subscribe to our channel to get notified when our newest episodes release. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time on Dare to Innovate.